Good to see you.
Hey, I didn't think I'd make it tonight, but it turned out. And I shared the document.
Pardon?
I shared the report, the student report.
So good. Ooh, that sounds kind of loud, because I'm nowhere near the thing. Am I turned up a lot? Okay. I can move it away a little bit. It's okay? Yikes. I felt like. All right. Is everybody ready? Okay. All right. We're going to call the meeting to order of the Plainville Board of Education for January 8th, 2024. First item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Bruzis, would you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Next item on our agenda is something that we do pretty much every meeting. We're fortunate enough to do pretty much every meeting, and that is what we call the PCS All-Star Awards. This is an award that we have been giving out since September of 2022, and it is really an effort so that the Board of Education can recognize and acknowledge our staff and their important work. And we really appreciate the fact that so many folks go over and above what needs to be done every day, and all in the service of our students. And so we've offered the staff, students, and parents in some cases to tell us about the special acts of our staff. And so we get these reports, people tell us about it, and then we're able to honor them, and that's something that's very important to us as a great way to start a meeting, that's for sure. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our superintendent, Mr. Reese, and he will give us little details.
Tonight's All-Star supports us at the high school. She supports students as a paraprofessional. She's been with us since 2015. And not only does she support our students throughout the year, but she also comes in on the summers and helps our students there as well. We are very appreciative of Shannon's work and what she does for our students. And when asked, her principal said, well, she walks on water. And I think that pretty much says it all. Mrs. DiLorenzo's here to present the award this evening, and she was going to read what was written about Shannon.
Good evening. It is an extreme honor to present this award to Ms. Shannon Rivera. She was nominated by two of our teachers within the building. Mr. Serwinski, one of our science teachers, had this to say about Ms. Rivera. As a paraprofessional, Shannon goes above and beyond to become part of the classroom. Her positive and calm attitude makes her ever approachable by students, and she goes the extra mile to meet their needs and provide them with assistance to assure they're getting a fair education. She is proactive with helping to maintain classroom procedures, hand out materials, and give back graded assignments when she's not working with small cohorts of learners. Shannon has been a lifeline for me. She has kept me sane, and she has redefined the role of a paraprofessional in my eyes. The students are lucky to have such a patient, caring, and considerate leader in their learning. I am lucky to have her in my classroom to meet all of my students' needs. Shannon is a PCS rock star. Ms. Brancefort, one of our special education teachers, had this to say about Ms. Rivera. I would like to formally recognize Shannon Rivera as an outstanding paraprofessional and PCS All-Star. I have had the pleasure of working with Shannon in the Connections program at Plainville High School for the past year and a half. In this role, Shannon provides individualized support to a diverse group of students with complex needs. From day one, I have been impressed by Shannon's professionalism, positive attitude, and her steadfast commitment to supporting students, staff, and the school community at large. Shannon has a keen ability to build rapport and easily establishes strong relationships with her students. In doing so, she has the ability to motivate students to try their best, even when a task is challenging. Shannon tailors her approach to meet individual needs, making sure students feel valued and understood. She also models a growth mindset and reminds students that hard work will lead to success. Her bright outlook and optimistic attitude helps them see that anything is possible. Shannon also establishes positive working relationships with her colleagues. She maintains regular communication with classroom teachers and collaborates with them to improve student outcomes. In addition, Shannon is highly flexible and easily adjusts to meet demands of the day. Whether assisting in the classroom, providing individualized support, or collaborating with teachers, she exhibits a level of care and professionalism that goes above and beyond expectations. She provides immeasurable support to students and teachers, and her eagerness to contribute to the school community is truly what makes Shannon Rivera a PCS All-Star. Congratulations, Shannon.
Kelly, if you don't mind. Shannon, bring her middle here. I want to touch you. Okay, so let me move that to the center. Okay, good deal. All right, big smiles. Give you three. Snap a couple. 1, 2, 3. Eyes on me. Big smiles. Nice. One. Just 1, 2, 3. Thank you and congratulations. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Nice to meet you. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you, everybody. So we're going to continue on. Our next item is approval of minutes, and we have what looks like 3 sets of minutes on the agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved, Madam Chairman, with one correction.
Under which one?
On the regular meeting on December 11th, under board subcommittees for the facilities and finance, the Top Lawn and the PAC and the middle school, there was a statement for those subcommittees, no report, where there were actual reports rendered. Just the statement of no report should be just removed from those.
Okay. Does anybody have?
Minor.
All right. So with those corrections, is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any other comments, questions? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you. Takes us to our student representative report, and I see Val is here with us. So Val, you want to give us your usual sparkling report?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. As we return from the holiday break, students have been hard at work focusing on completing NHS community service requirements, as well as preparing for the upcoming midterms. Midterm exams will begin Tuesday, January 16th, and go until Friday, January 19th. Due to Martin Luther King Jr. Day, students are going to have a 3-day weekend to study, so teachers have been able to push forward with completing all necessary content by the midterm deadline this week, whilst still maintaining some review days for students. So that's been good. The first day of the second semester is going to be on January 22nd, and report cards will release on January 31st. So all seniors will have their midterm reports also submitted to colleges, and now we'll be just waiting until March for final, for the decisions to come back. The winter sports season has been well underway, and the final competitions for all are quickly approaching. The boys and girls indoor track team competed at Hill House venue last Friday, January 5th. Numerous members of the team qualified for states, most notably in the girls 1600 meter, girls 55 meter hurdles, boys 300 meter sprint, girls 1K, and the girls SMR team. Their next meet is going to be this Thursday. The boys swim team also had a meet on January 5th against Granby at the Farmington Valley YMCA. They brought home their 3rd win of the season so far, going undefeated. So congratulations to Coach Kramer and Coach Verastra on that front. They're going to be competing again tomorrow against East Hartford And the boys basketball team is currently holding a home game in the main gym as well, if I'm not mistaken. The Plainville High School chapter of the National Honor Society has been hard at work completing their tutoring hours and producing videos. Now, through a collaboration with the counseling department, the video tutoring committee will also now be attempting producing videos for incoming freshmen and 8th graders to watch with class sign-up and how schedules at PHS work and whatnot to smoothen that transition. The PHS Hockey Co-op held a cancer fundraiser in the lunchroom on last Thursday and raised a fair bit of money there. The Science National Honor Society will be holding a science night for PHS elementary school students and PCS families on April 22nd from 6 to 8. And the Math National Honor Society will be holding a bottle and can drive on January 13th. We're also currently working on establishing a collaboration with the Hartford Science Center to set up a day where our students will help out around the center and introduce other kids to science and physics. That concludes the student perspective.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you. We have citizens' comments. I do not believe we have any citizens here who are going to be speaking, but I will offer. Anyone like to speak to the council? I mean, to the board. Listen to me.
Forgive me, Madam Chair. May I ask Val to repeat the date of the bottle and can drive, please?
Sure, that should be on January
13th. And do we, if we want to donate bottles or cans, where should we bring them to? Or is there somewhere we could look?
Plainville High School, like drive right where the buses are.
Perfect.
National Honor Society will be out there collecting.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And now they're worth 10 cents a piece. It's a lot of money. All right, thank you. Any citizens wishing to speak to the Board of Education? All right, we're going to move on. Brings us to the council liaison. I know Mr. Wazorko had another commitment this evening with the council and could not attend tonight. And that brings us to our superintendent's report.
Well, this is going to be an extended report because we have a tremendous amount of things happening these days. So let me apologize in advance. First, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night at the Board of Education retreat here at 6 o'clock over in the Commons. Looking forward to that conversation with Mr. Caruso. I have some notes because there were a few things to talk about. We are tomorrow releasing the guidance for our district around the kindergarten entrance age. As you know, the state decided, or the legislators moved the age for enrollment from December 31st to September 1st for the 2024 students entering our kindergarten. The big questions are typically who's affected by this. So essentially our pre-K will start immediately with their 4-year-olds, the 4-year-olds starting with a December 31st cutoff or September 1st cutoff, as opposed to a December 31st. So they'll get the process started. And then with kindergarten next year, essentially, families are in a transition year. With the state's goal of having everybody start with the September 1st cutoff, we are essentially working on the assumption students will come in with that cutoff, and then we are developing a waiver process per the state. So if parents see their child is really needing to come in to kindergarten next year, they have a process in which to work through to get that moving along. So we've tried to spell it out as quickly as effectively as we can to make sure parents are understanding what we're doing. We're working with our kindergarten teachers to make sure that they're in a position to be ambassadors for us for this process. We are certainly looking, our primary goal in our conversations is to maintain a positive relationship with our parents of our newest children. And so that's certainly one of our primary goals. This is literally hot off the presses, but this is the letter that, with a few final tweaks tomorrow, will be sent out. And essentially, there's a waiver process if you would like it to, if your child would like to come to kindergarten, and yet we would love it if we could start all students off on the same foot. So you don't have to read this here. It follows the state guidance specifically as best the state guidance is. So, and we are, committed to working with any parent who would like to see their child use the former cutoff point. All right, I think I covered all those notes. In terms of strategic plan, I sent you a strategic plan. The original with the blue background is absolutely beautiful. Ms. Davis obviously has talents in that area. But we wanted to make sure that when we're presenting to you that we can take and annotate and say, this section, we're really talking about this part of the plan. So I want to really emphasize that that's not a different plan. It is just organized so you can refer back to it quickly. We want to be able to draw connections to the plan as we go through, so we don't leave it up to you to have to kind of make those connections without us making it very clear. So, and I'm not sure if Ms. DiLorenzo had a chance to tag hers. I don't think she did. I didn't give her a lot of time, but we'll do that as we continue through the strategic updates. We have submitted, and we were partially approved on a reading waiver, and that's actually the best place to be, because we were approved for the reading waiver. We are able to request funds, about $90,000, to support us to fill in some places where the state process identified that we could use some help with the science of reading. So effectively, the majority of our program for reading is considered okay, and now we have some funds to supplement and augment that program as well. So I think that's the best place to be, because I suppose if we were approved completely, we wouldn't have access to the funds, although maybe we could have. But so that's a great place to be, and we'll be bringing you some updates on what the reading materials that we look to purchase are for that. And then what the item that's taken a lot of our time lately is the middle school renovation project. That has taken a life of its own. The town council did form a committee, the steering committee, to try to get us to the position of being able to go to referendum. The town is working with a firm called Tall Timbers, which was part of the original contract with CSG. And that helps us understand what's involved with publicity, both from the legal side and from the how-to get those messages out. And when I say we, this is a town project, so the town government is very much involved in leading this, and we are certainly supporting them in that process. The committee's moved already. They met very quickly. And they plan to have communications out with Tall Timbers support by the end of this month. The referendum, as I understand it, is anticipated to be March 19th, and that puts our silent period where officials of the town cannot speak after to be, I believe, February 5th, but it all depends on when they schedule their meetings, which I don't think have technically been scheduled yet. So those are, I would say those are somewhat tentative dates at this point. So the next part of my report is to turn it over to our principal at the high school, Ms. DiLorenzo, and she has an extended PowerPoint talking about all the things that are going on at the high school. So if you have questions about any of these first, we'll go ahead and take those now before
I had a couple questions real quick. The first thing is on the student waiver program. I was just wondering, are there ways a parent can hold their child back in preschool? So say it's the opposite, say on the second, if they're 5 on the second, but they think their child needs an extra year of preschool. Is there a waiver program to retain a child that may just not be ready socially, emotionally, or just off, just isn't, the parent doesn't think they're like right on, is gonna do well?
So the official answer to that is yes and no. So our 4-year-old program is built on the concept that it's a 1-year program. The classes are filled that. The way we support it is that it's a 1-year, 4-year-old program. However, this is a unique year. We understand that some people are going to be caught off guard by this. And so in this transition year, the answer is yes, that we have that opportunity, that if we need to do that, if students need to not move forward, there's an option to do that. So typically the answer would be no, because that's kind of how our program is set up. Because you would essentially have everybody getting 2 years of 1 grade, so it's a different,
Okay.
and we only have a number of sections for it. It's
Gotcha.
not,
Thank
we
you.
can extend it.
I had one more question, actually two. The MSP renovation steering committee, can you please name the members on that committee so that those listening will know who's on that committee?
Sure, and I have 2 of them sitting next to me, so I will, if I miss somebody. So first of all, there are a number of ex officio members. So myself, Sam, the town manager, the assistant town manager have been to every meeting, or to the 1 meeting, I should say. I believe the official membership is, and I hope I do okay with Mr. Wazorko and Mrs. Moranti, Ms. Terrell, and Ms. Martinez.
Are those meetings posted are the committee meetings open to the public? Are they posted, or if anybody?
They
had
are
any-
posted and they are open to the public, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And did I miss anybody? Oh, okay.
Except Ira, I don't know, what role.
Ira Yellen is the president of Tall Timbers, the company, and he's been attending as well as a professional consultant. So,
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have a question, please, for the superintendent. Is this, the steering committee, to your knowledge, is there anything that would need to be voted on?
So my understanding of the steering committee is that they would make recommendations back to the town council. That's they are functioning as a committee created by the town council, so their authority, for what it's worth, is to make recommendations to the town council. That's my understanding. It is the first town committee that I've interacted with in Plainville, so I'm making some assumptions there.
I asked just with it being 4, is it 4 official members or 6 official members? If there was, it would be hard to have a break in a vote with an even number, so I just wanted to know what the actual format of it was. And then also I understand that it is the chair and the vice chair of the council and the Board of Education, and that this is a town council-made decision. So this is more of a statement than a question. My statement would be that in the spirit of representation and conversations, that there would be representation from both parties. Thank you.
And I'd be happy to pass that on to Mr. Wazorko.
Hello again. All right, I'm just pulling up my slideshow. Thank you for having me tonight. January marks the 7th month that I've been principal of Plainville High School, and I could not be more proud and humbled to be selected as Plainville High School's principal. I hope that everyone in the Plainville community could see Plainville High School from my eyes. I absolutely love getting into classrooms. I love supporting at events, and I hope that this presentation gives you a little bit of that perspective of you being able to see the school through my fresh eyes of being principal. By the numbers, this is Plainville High School. We have a total of 699, right there at the 700 mark, students enrolled at Plainville High School. 160 are seniors, and then you could see the progression. We have our largest class in quite a while at 196 for the freshman class coming in, and I know that that is a trend that is going to be continuing over the next 3 incoming classes from the middle school. I know one of their classes exceeds 200, so we are getting larger numbers coming in our graduating class sizes. By numbers, this is our breakdown of faculty members. I want to recognize Miss Kelly Hickey, who's joined me tonight, for support in her 7th month of being assistant principal as well. We make a fantastic team, and John would be here if it wasn't for a family issue, but I am really proud of the administration team that we have at the high school. I'm also really proud of the new teachers that we've hired over the summer. We have a new world language teacher, Sarah Colston, who's doing an awesome job in world language. We have stolen Shailene Krapinski from the middle school, but she was at the high school for many years before she took a little bit of a leave. We love having her in the English department. We have Julie Urkalani, who's been a fantastic addition in our school counseling department. And this morning, I was breathing a breath of fresh air when our SRO returned to us after a maternity leave. So I love that presence back in the building. She was welcomed by everyone that saw her this morning. So I love that component. I'm just going to go through the next few slides. These are our standardized testing, SAT and PSAT score slides. Last year in March, we had our school day SAT for our current seniors who were then juniors. For the first time in quite some time, extending before the pandemic, our average score broke 1,000. And if you look at this cohort, their transition from freshman year through senior year, they were able to increase their average SAT score by just under 100 points. So that's a pretty significant improvement from first time they took the test with us back at the PSAT 8-9 back in spring of 2021, and then to lift the school's average score that much is a pretty good feat, because we have the top performing who are balancing out students who don't see it as something that is going to get them any true reward. So we're seeing some pretty good shifts in that data. We see that with the rest of our cohorts as well. This is our current juniors. They tested twice so far in their high school career. They went from 807 to an improvement of 919 last fall, and they will be testing again in the spring. We did make a shift in our state testing. We shifted from testing everybody in the school in the fall to the springtime so that our test scores are a reflection of the curriculum that they're being taught, and they're going to be tested after 7 months of being in the classroom rather than 7 weeks when they were tested in October. So that information will be coming to us in the spring, and we're hoping to see the same continuous improvement in our SAT scores. And then you'll notice this is our sophomores. In comparison to the class before, they're starting already 50 points ahead in their baseline assessment. So our averages are looking really good. And if you've noticed throughout those 3 slides, they are ahead of the state in every single test administration. So we're proud of the success that we're seeing there. As a reflection of our most current graduating class was the class that just left us back in June of 2023. Just to give you a few updates on where they are, you're going to notice that almost 98% of our graduating seniors from last year's graduating class had a plan, whether it be to continue for higher education or go into the trades, military, or the workforce. We have very few students who are reporting that they're taking a gap year or they're undecided on what they want to do. And that's a reflection of our work in our pathway program, that everyone has a plan post-graduation. And you'll see that that 77% that went on to some sort of higher education, the breakdown is primarily in-state, which feeds into our dual enrollment and our partnerships that we have with the local colleges in the area, and then 21% are going out of state. So good reflection to see where our graduates are landing, and we're constantly trying to get that up to 100% reporting they have a plan, and closer and closer to, getting more students into the higher education area. Also with the class of 2023, they combined for 5,335 hours of community service. And then if you tallied up all of the college credits earned, whether they be from ECE courses, AP courses, dual enrollment partnerships, and so on, that's over 1,091 credits earned towards college here at Plainville High School. So all of those programs that we're running are having a real impact on giving our students an advantage when they graduate and go on to bigger and brighter things. There's a lot of stuff, like I said, to be proud of at Plainville High School. PHS raised over $1,500 to support the children at CCMC back on the pajama day in December 8th. Our goal was 500 and we went 3 times higher. So I think one of the most rewarding experiences I've had to date was I walked into a senior class and I said, hey, I'm collecting the envelopes for PJ Day, and the seniors who were just taking their own wallets out and contributing, where it was just moving because you could see that it had a real impact and they were giving back and they were really proud of their contributions. So it's a nice way to wear your pajamas to school. So that was really fun. Along with that, though, we have some really notable recognition that I want to make sure we spotlight. Back in September, we were awarded the best high schools from U.S. News and World Report. We celebrated that at a faculty meeting to come back from the summer break, and so we're really proud of that recognition. We're also proud of the Telly Award that we won for general education and training that goes along with our Career Pathway video series, which has been instrumental to us laying the foundational work for career exploration and having students hear from Plainville High School graduates about what they took in high school and what takeaways they have in their career as a reflection of their time here in Plainville. So that was awesome. And when you research that award, the Telly Award, like ESPN has won it and ABC, and for Plainville High School to be recognized on some national platforms, it was pretty impressive. We also celebrated our FAFSA completion challenge in our school counseling department. We had over 70% of our seniors registered and signed up with FAFSA for their financial aid packages and incentives. This year, our goal is to get 77% of families and students registered, and we're well on track for that. And then the last award that I want to recognize, our English department received the Connecticut State Champion Award for the vocabulary words that were mastered through a program that we use called vocabulary.com. They selected one winner in each state. It's a program that's used by many districts throughout Connecticut, and for us to be selected as the top scorer, it's based on student achievement. We mastered over 10,000 words. So that was a pretty good award for our English department. Overall, at Plainville High School, when you tour the building, you'll see that we're focused on the 4 goals that we've been pretty consistently focusing on over the last few years. Our teachers use PLCs and CPTs, our meeting time, to really work on instruction and reinforce that career and college pathway work that we've been talking about throughout this presentation. We are making a shift that our teachers are focusing on instruction this year, and so we're collaborating and we're defining what we call effective instruction in the classroom, so that when we go and have people in from around the district in our district rounds, you'll be seeing some of that work that we've been doing. The second one is a more complete response to intervention system, including Tier 1 classroom instructional strategies to support all students. I'd be lying to say if students come in and everyone is on track and on grade level. We do have some catching up to do in certain areas, and all of our classroom teachers are working on that Tier 1 intervention support so that we can highlight and identify students that may need more work to catch them up to speed. So we've been enjoying our conversations around that work in our CPT and PLC time. We worked really closely with Marzano over the last few years, and one of the other areas that we focus on is to provide a safe and orderly environment for all students to thrive in. Our work there, focused on how to create an environment where all students are not being distracted and they're all ready for a fair and equitable experience in the classroom. The safe and orderly also connected to the fact that we switched to one main entrance in the main lobby in the morning to tighten up some supervisory roles in the morning, and that's been going well, but it was all kind of geared towards that, the decisions made there. And then the last focus point for us is to provide a supportive and equitable learning environment and focus on our social emotional needs within our school community. So right in line with our district goals as well, with what we're working on at PHS. When you do have a chance to come around and tour the building, you will see these posters in all of our classrooms. They are right over here displayed in this classroom. This was a product of a student-led group over the summer. I had 10, sometimes 12 students, and it was a week-long session that we held on our school-wide expectations for all students at Plainville High School. Each department submitted what they wanted to see. The teachers had some input in this as well, and then the students created the common messaging, and we came up with these 5 school-wide expectations for us to platform this year and really focus our work around. First one is attendance. Second one is the cell phone use in the classroom. Late work, to have a consistent academic late work policy. We had a really long discussion about decorum and what good behavior and professionalism would look like in a high school environment. And then finally, the dress code were our 5 focus areas. And again, those posters are made by the students in the school. I want to give a shout out to Michaela Jo Ayers. She was the designer of the posters, and they are in every classroom for everyone to be reminded of our 5 expectations. We have ongoing committee work that is going on at Plainville High School in these 4 areas. We meet and we talk about our Learning Adventure Day program, our SEL and advisory program that we're running, our Mastery-Based Experience Credit, and our Portrait of the Graduate committees do some work throughout the year. And then I meet monthly with our instructional leaders and our faculty advisory team. We are working on attendance every day. We would like every student to be present, and we know that that's the best way for them to learn and be receptive to what we have to offer to them. It is a battle that we are continuing to face. We have made progress, but it's something that is going to take time to develop and change the culture a little bit. So we do see improvement on our numbers. Both Kelly and John in the main office communicate regularly with families on attendance. It's hard, though, to pinpoint an exact this is what's getting in the way, because attendance is so individualized to families and students. So we work with them, we try to reduce barriers, we try to eliminate obstacles, and we have gotten our numbers to show that throughout the year. So the blue line on this list is the 2022 numbers monthly for October. The red line is the 2023 numbers. We're below in all except September, and we're consistently keeping that pattern throughout the school year so far. So I'll be the first one to admit that I would love that bar to go underneath 20 for chronically absent, and we will work towards that. And when we get there, we won't be done, and we'll continue to work down towards 15. But it is a work in progress, and I'm happy to report that those numbers are moving in the right direction. Like I said before, our college and career pathway work is clearly defined at the high school. We meet weekly to talk about ways to engage our students in this process as well. We had an Experience PHS night back in September that replaced the old open house model. That's very interactive. It's almost like it's a free open house for all parents to come and see, and students to come and see what they can get involved in here at the high school. We are expanding our job shadow and fieldwork experience opportunities and our independent study opportunities so that we're really tailoring to what students need and what they want when we talk about this pathway work. And like I said before, we're increasing our partnerships with colleges and universities. We have a meeting tomorrow to hopefully potentially talk about a nursing pathway. So all new stuff that we're trying to offer to our students to stay on the cutting edge and offer the best opportunities for our students. Here's some pictures from the Experience PHS night. Our Learning Adventure Days are thriving. We have 3 events this year. 2 have already kicked off and have taken place. And I would say that they have been highlights of the fall semester. First was our Career Gallery of Exploration. We had 115 professionals come in on that day, and it was just electric. The energy in the gym was, you couldn't replicate it. It was perfect. The seniors were so focused on who they wanted to talk to. They had ideas, they had it planned out, they beelined right to the professions they wanted to go to. And then as the juniors and sophomores entered, the vibe changed a little bit because they're exploring and they want to talk to everyone to get the best well-rounded experience of the day. So it's something we shifted from last year to an opportunity for all students to engage in this year, and it was 2 hours of really valuable exploration for them. And then we followed that up on November 8th with a Learning Adventure Day that was career focused. If you have time, on one of the later slides, there's a link to all the sessions that were offered on that Learning Adventure Day. It was impressive, the places that the students were able to get out to and explore. And the nice thing about the Learning Adventure Day program is it's spiraling into the classroom. So a few years ago, we had a science teacher go out on a limb and do a cardboard boat race in the pool. And the kids spent all day developing the cardboard boat race, and Mr. Johnson showed you the video. The physics teacher brought it into his classroom this year for our physics students. Now, if you want to see some elaborate cardboard boats, they researched how to make these things float. And I bet you they'd still be floating in the pool today because of how well they designed these boats, but they're bringing it into their classrooms now. And then our automotive shop teacher, he's formed a relationship with Good Guys Auto down the street, and twice a semester we get our students into his facility. And this is all stuff that's happened from the Learning Adventure Day program, where we're extending out and we're forming partnerships, and it's now impacting the classrooms on a daily basis. So I'm really proud of that. Here's some pictures of that career gallery. You can see the gym and just how full it was and the excitement behind it. Matt Colato, I know you guys have learned about his internship over the summer working in town hall, and he kicked it off with a speech about how the Learning Adventure Day program helped set that up and gave him that opportunity. So it was really, really well done. And at the top picture, you can see that's the 115 professionals that came in for the day. And what I think is extra special is the bottom photo were all the Plainville High School graduates that participated. So we're trying to increase that every single year so that students see that sticker and they all wear a sticker that says, I'm a PHS graduate. And I think it means a little more when those conversations are being had. This is the slide that has the link to the descriptions. Again, I welcome you to visit that. It's just really well done, and the places that they were able to get into it's amazing. And the smiles on their faces, it just shows how valuable the days are. I just want to spend a few minutes highlighting some of the stuff from our departments. The Fine Arts Department is looking forward to the Townwide Art Show. They really want to showcase, meet the artists from like they did last year, and they're going to stagger it this year so that people have a chance to meet the elementary artists, the middle school artists, and the high school artists. They will have their artwork be on display for the month of April primarily. The visual arts classes are working on revising some curriculum to stay updated and connect to our Portrait of the Graduate skills. The music department PHS has a pep band, and they performed at all of our home football games. The chamber choir caroled at a bunch of events throughout the community. We have implemented a music and media technology class that's thriving and well attended by students. Probably the highlight is the 102 PHS students who performed in Disney World. Kevin, I don't know if you can hit that link for me. Seeing them come down Main Street was definitely something that I will remember for the rest of my life, and I know that these students will as well. Yep, it was awesome. The trip was amazing. The kids were so respectful, and we had everyone reporting that it was just an awesome opportunity, and I hope it extends. We have expanded to a Tri-M Music Honor Society that in its inaugural year is over 30 members strong, and then they will be doing Coffee House, and the town band concert will be returning this year. The English department has inducted over 40 juniors and seniors into its National Honor Society. We have quite a few National Honor Societies now at the high school. A few of them running for the first time this year. So it's given a lot of students some opportunities to belong in some of those organizations. They did win the Vocabulary Bowl, like I talked about. They have a new Greek mythology elective that's 40 students strong. So for a first year course, amazing reception there. And they've proposed 2 new courses for next year that we're eagerly writing curriculum for and looking forward to implementing. The Learning Commons, each student has visited the Learning Commons over 20 times since the start of the school year. They have gone through a transformation in their collection of books. This year's focus is the nonfiction section, and Ms. Peichel has worked really hard to keep her collection up to date and interesting for students to engage with in reading, since a lot of what they're doing now isn't necessarily research, it's pleasure reading. So they're trying to shift that to a more Barnes and Noble type feel, but that kids are in there and they're taking the books off the shelves and they're actually getting into them. In the math department, we've had huge success in the AP exam. 71% of our statistics students passed, 6 of which with a 5. 82% of our calculus students passed the exam, 7 of which had a 5. And then 100% of our students in Calc BC passed the AP exam. We do a lot of tutoring in the math department through our math lab, and they are working really hard on their Tier 1 interventions in their classroom. The Algebra 2 summer program had 20 students strong this past summer, which definitely leads to a Calc BC program in the future. And we did have 1 student recognized as a National Merit Scholarship semifinalist, which is quite an accomplishment. In the science department, the environmental classes are working with the DOT to work on that trail extension in Plainville. The marine biology classes used a town hall meeting format to learn about their topics, and they are continuing to try to expand their field trip opportunities to get the students out of the classroom and into areas where they can explore. The Science National Honor Society has done multiple community service projects, the toy drive, and a costume drive for Halloween time was just a few that were really successful this year. As for the social studies department, they have implemented a multi-tiered system of support into the projects to improve student performance. They have proposed a new class called Media and American Culture that we're excited about seeing where it falls when students register for classes next month. And then they have been working consistently throughout the year to help students on their SAT scores in the area of primary reading questions, and they've had a lot of success in their studies in the social studies department. As for school counseling, the college fair was a huge hit this year. We had 92 schools represented in the college fair. They had a passport system which promoted student engagement. And again, that was a day where the energy in the wood gym was really electric. Like I told you before, the FAFSA challenge this year, we want 77% of our seniors at least to have the FAFSA completed. Obviously, beyond that is our goal. And then we are working on our partnership program with CCSU. It continues to grow. In the fall, we had 14 students who took 11 classes at CCSU. And in the spring, we have 11 students enrolled taking 7 classes. And this is for free. So it's great to have the students taking advantage of our partnership with CCSU. For CTE, we've partnered with Goodwin University for a manufacturing pathway. We have 3 Tunxus community pathway courses that we're currently offering in accounting, advanced accounting, and financial literacy, all of which students are gaining college credit for, and those opportunities we're hoping to expand, like I said, with a culinary program and some other areas of investigation. World language, we have 100% of our students who are taking the test for the seal of biliteracy, passing and actually getting that appointment. So we are very proud of that. We have added sections to our Italian ECE opportunities this year, and we are hoping to do that as well for Spanish. So, or continue our work with the ECE program for Spanish. We do have honor societies for all 3 languages in world language. In the health and physical education department, we just had our Breakfast of Champions held on December 22nd. 125 9th and 10th graders were able to pass all 4 sections of the physical fitness test, and they were provided a breakfast catered by our culinary classes for the first time. It was awesome. Eggs, ham, bacon. It went far better options than when we were serving them in the past. So I was great to see the culinary classes getting involved in that. The culinary classes also catered the Veterans Day breakfast earlier in the school year, and the veterans, they approved of the menu that day too. So awesome work having our departments combine. Grade 9 just finished their swim unit for fall semester, and our integrated PE class is going to be finishing up their basketball unit, and they would like me to invite all of you to attend the game on Thursday night for the unified versus faculty basketball game. I joked around with the faculty that they had to try out. I don't know if I scared some people away, but we could use some people on our sideline if you'd like to join and play. Special education, our students continue to work on their post-secondary skills. We've added job sites for our students to go out and visit, Tractor Supply, Big Lots, and Mighty Auto. To be specific, our unified students celebrated their 2nd annual Friendsgiving, increasing the social connections throughout the school. That was a huge hit. And we've added a transition coordinator position in Tom Linden Youth this year, which has really helped merge those job site transitions for our students. Our next steps at the high school are to continue the Learning Adventure Day program and the career pathway work, our student success plans that we are working with, and our mastery-based experience credit that is going to become our focus over the next few weeks. We are dedicated to support the whole student at the high school through our partnerships and opportunities, and we continue to focus on attendance, like I said before, because we know that is the most critical component to success within our classroom walls. So I want to open it up to any questions that you may have about what's been going on at Plainville High School before I turn it back over.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple quick questions, Ms. DiLorenzo. The first one, when you spoke about the FAFSA, are you finding any challenges with getting into their new systems, with completing the requirements? I say that because from personal experience, with the new system they've put in, I know they're having some snags. I'll leave it at that. And I'm just interested in if you've run into that, or if any of the students, or if you guys do something different than what we do, because I know it's happening not just in Connecticut, but in other states as well.
Yeah, it is. I know that Mrs. Lamont is really, that's our instructional leader for the school counseling department. She is on meetings continuously about the process and how to troubleshoot some of the problems that people are encountering, but it is a systematic problem. It's not a Plainville issue, and I think that it's a lot of people are experiencing some of that frustration, but we're working continuously to try to get people past those hurdles. So we have heard of problems being experienced.
But are the students here experiencing that, or are you able to work around that?
We're working around it. It's with our constant communication with the organization and the programming, that's how we're troubleshooting it. So if they're experiencing it, it's not on our end, it's out of our control, but we're helping to get past that.
Okay. My other question has to do with the attendance. I know it's been mentioned a few times in your slide presentation. Are you doing any kind of reward system in terms of this? Because I can tell you, well, I'd be dating myself, so I better not. But that at one time, there used to be some sort of a pool, and that pool would grow every year for students that didn't complete the, for students that had perfect attendance. And I found it quite shocking when my son graduated here. I know he was pretty much ignored for that. I mean, he came here in 3rd grade, and he never missed a day of school. And he was acknowledged at the middle school, and he worked pretty darn hard to be here on time every day and to be in school every day. And I remember talking to Mr. Johnson about that, and it was somewhat dismissed. And I thought that was kind of surprising if this is such an important thing, particularly when students need to take this into the next step, whether that be in college or into the working world. Attendance is extremely important, and yet we seem to be ignoring that. And I'm just kind of wondering if that's finally changing, because it really should.
Yeah, I agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. And every Sunday at 3 o'clock, we post a newsletter that goes out. And once a month, we recap the previous month's attendance. And every student that had perfect attendance, and I mean no blemishes at all. So they were here at the start of the school day, and they weren't tardy to any of their classes. They have no attendance blemishes. They get posted and recognized as perfect attendance for the month of September, October, November, whatever it may be. And then from that pool, we do select 2 students to be recognized with some sort of gift for having perfect attendance. One day it was a t-shirt, but just to recognize them as having that perfect attendance and going that mile. At the end of the school year, if there is a student that has done it for the entire school year, we will have a special recognition for them, a certificate of perfect attendance.
I think that's important.
Yep, so we do that
It's
once a month.
disappointing to see that it was dropped for so long. And I think it's a very important thing, moving on.
Yeah, I'm glad to have it back to recognize that. And people, they do come down and they ask, I should be on that list. Why wasn't I on that list? Or, like they do correct it. And then when we pull up their attendance, most times they say, oh, I was late to X class or Y class. So they're focusing on it, and it's something that we did bring back. So thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chairman, Mrs. DiLorenzo, and just furthering what Roberta had said, would there be any opportunity to have a class competition for perfect attendance? To kind of, I know there are class competitions, if that could be included into it, getting a little bit of competition between the classes to make attendance better as it is, trying to get to your goal of less than 20%.
Yeah.
And that is what I would, because I think she brought up a very good point. Because it's our district-wide issue. We are better than many, but it is still critical. If you're not in a classroom, and not in school, you're not learning. And so, that might just add to the incentive without, it just I think that also builds school spirit, which is really great here. And I also want to thank you for a very comprehensive report.
Thank you. And we always welcome ideas on how to improve attendance. And so I will bring that back to the attendance committee and see if we can incorporate that in somehow. So thank you.
Madam Chair, as a payback to Mr. Foster saying, I hope I don't get myself in trouble, but we acknowledge people every month for their contributions to our community, schools, and maybe we need to add that too. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to say thank you so much. That really was a wonderful presentation filled with great information, so thank you. And I just wanted to see, do you know by any chance, or can we just find out what time the unified game is on Thursday?
6 o'clock.
6, thank you.
I'll start stretching at 5:15. So. No, 6 o'clock.
Madam Chair, if I'm, oh, thank you. Sorry. I did have a couple questions. One is on the social workers, the counselors, and the school psychologists. Are those positions all for full-time positions, or do we share them with any other schools?
Nope, they are full-time at the high school.
Okay. The next thing is I know that we had outsourced or had people from the outside helping with the counseling in the schools. Are you still doing that this year?
We do. We partner with Cornerstone Counseling, and we partner with Youth Services for actually I think it's up to 3 counselors that come in and meet with students throughout the school day.
Okay, so there's up to 3 more.
There's 3 outside counselors that come in and meet with students. It's a program that's set up through our SAM referral process, our student assistance meeting process, and it's for students that need additional counseling. But we have 3 additional counselors that come to the high school.
Okay. The second one is the data on slide 7. It said the graduation rates of their post-secondary plans, but what about the success rate of following up with those plans? Do we have any data to say like those that are going on to a 4-year school are, graduated a 4-year school, or those that had plans? Do we have any data to say like the success of that?
I could look into it. It would be me going back to the class of 2020 at this point to see what they're doing 4 years down the road. But I can look into that.
I think that's
if we have
important
any.
to see, like, what this, where do they end up? The other thing is, I noticed that only 3% of our students are going into the military. The military size is shrinking, and it's actually a place of great opportunity for those who choose to go in that direction. So I didn't know, do you guys have, I know anybody come to kind of encourage that, or even people that have been at PHS, graduates to?
Yep. So we have recruiters that come in monthly and they meet with students during their lunch block. We also partner with them extensively in the Learning Adventure Day program to especially forecast the types of careers you can get into with the military being your platform and being your modality. So we do partner with them often. We also encourage all students, if they can, to take the ASVAB test, which is a direct kind of, it's a test that aligns with military involvement and what jobs you would be qualified for or training you'd be qualified for. So we do give that test out twice a year for students to take, although that's kind of a career readiness test. It goes beyond that. But we do partner with them many times throughout the year to have them come in and meet with students who are expressing interest in a military pathway.
I had 2 more questions. One is, you mentioned the library is now pushing, or not pushing, but has a bigger influence on non-fiction literature. I was wondering, the non-fiction literature and the non-fiction books, have those been removed from the shelves or just brought forward? They're
recategorized, they're regrouped by genre and category. Stuff that's outdated, we did petition to have removed in the nonfiction section if it was no longer relevant, and then we will be bringing in new, up-to-date, current nonfiction selections for students to review. So it's kind of in a transformation process. A
Is there-
little bit of both has happened.
Is there a list of the nonfiction books that were pulled, or
I can get that from you from
I'm just
Deb
curious to
Heichel,
see
the
what
librarian.
kind of books are considered, outdated for nonfiction?
Okay.
But, and then finally, and this is the last one, I promise, with the Learning Adventure Days and the other ways that children can be exposed to career pathways, are there any clergy or at all that are asked to come in, or, because I know that it's not uncommon, like there's definitely people who recruit, or recruiters, or people that are in charge of teaching for all different faiths. It doesn't have to necessarily be one or the other, but it would be interesting to maybe have that added to, an experience or a pathway, just because there may be students out there that are curious about what to do to,
So
to
the way
take
learning-
those steps.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
The way Learning Adventure Days run is we do survey the students, and we offer sessions in the survey responses that come in with the most amount of student interest. But
So-
one of the things that any student can do during a Learning Adventure Day is create an independent job shadow. And that's where students who have a specific interest can
So I
go out
guess
and work with people.
I guess it would be more towards the college days, because they are, clergy have degrees. It's not just something you decide to do. So it'd be interesting.
Yeah,
know.
if we had a student who wanted to explore it, we would,
But I'm talking about like with, when you have the 105, different places to go to school. Not the Learning Adventure Day, I'm sorry, I misspoke. The other one that you have at the beginning.
the college.
Yeah, the college fair.
The college fair? Yeah. We partner with a consortium on that. We partner with a group that comes in, and basically they come to Connecticut, and the way it runs is they go to 5 or 6 different schools. So the schools that come in are part of the consortium that we partner with. And so we are kind of tied with, that's who's represented, because they're here for the week, and they go to Newington, and then they go to Berlin, and they come
But
to
if somebody was
Plainville.
willing to come in on those days, is that something they can't come in, or is it?
They can. It would just be something that we would have to get, like, the approval for someone to come in.
Just curious. Thanks.
Yep.
Madam Chair, I have a question for Ms. De Lorenzo, please. I love the presentation, the slide where the student created the 5 expectations. That was really well done. And it always seems to be a success when the students raise their own bar and hold themselves accountable. So really nice job. One of the things that you had mentioned that was on there was the dress code, and I know that was one of the areas that we spent time on last year, in updating the dress code, hats, being allowed for the first time in Plainville High School history. So I thought this would be the perfect opportunity just to ask, how has that been going as far as the implementation and updates of the new dress code? And that connects my dots to your successful PJ Day, where you raised 3 times the amount that you had anticipated. Are you finding that the new dress code helped reduce the wearing of PJs on any given day? And is it, do you find that the new dress code has helped see a decrease in some of the areas of opportunity that we had?
So the hoods were a huge safety concern for us, because when you go to cameras and camera footage, somebody with a black hood on, and there's 10 people with hoods on at any given time, was a real safety concern for us. By opening up and compromising with the students and allowing them to wear hats, we have very few hoods in the hallway. And I can clearly identify a student and say, the boy with the Yankees hat on, or the girl that has the headband, that's fuchsia in a video clip. So it actually can help you identify if they have some singleton item like that, and clear up some of the gray area when we're looking at footage and we're talking from a safety standpoint. So I love the fact that the compromise has led to the hoods being reduced dramatically in the hallways. And we don't have a fight on it either. It used to be like, why do I have to take my hood off? And it would be like ruin someone's day. But now it's like, yep, I get it. And 9 times out of 10, they have a hat on under the hood, and they remove it when they come into the doorway, and it's fine, and everyone goes on with their day. So I love that compromise. Thank you. It has really been a breath of fresh air. And I don't think it's been us backing down on that, but it's been meeting students halfway. The pajama day, I'm going to say, like, the answer to that is no. They like to wear their pajamas to school. It has not reduced. I love that we're able to raise so much money for that cause, but I think that cause behind it is what's backed it. But I think the work on the dress code was very valuable. It allowed students to have their voice heard, and I think we're seeing that in the arguments being far less than what we've had in the past, because they know they've had a say in the process. So even when we've had to address something that was going against the dress code, they're open to hearing it. It's a discussion, it's not a battle. So I do want to thank you for that, because it has lessened a lot on our plates.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to hear about the primary safety issue first and foremost, connecting the dots back to the raising the bar. We talked about, the absenteeism as far as how that carries over into their life, whether it be going on to college, work, what have you. To get clever and creative, maybe at the next job forum, perhaps all the people that they're so excited to talk to are standing there in their PJs. I wonder, it's an area of opportunity for us as a culture to raise the bar. I certainly wouldn't show up here in my pajamas, and I have the utmost respect for, the culture that we're creating here. So maybe the bar needs to be elevated everywhere, not just with the students. So I'll keep asking, and I hope to see the shift. And we do have the dress code, so I guess I would just ask that there's the implementation of it. I know we have much bigger fish to fry, but it does go to the future of these students. Thank you so much for the excellent presentation.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, just a piggyback question for Ms. Lorenzo based on Cassandra's comments regarding the Learning Commons. I think it would be very helpful for us to know the books that have been outdated, that you consider outdated, as well as the genres that are being added in, what the interest of the students is in those genres. Is this something that is being added in due to the addition of something in the curriculum? Where is it coming from? So it would be very helpful when we have our discussions to get an idea of what the interests are.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll get that information.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Jen, go ahead.
Oh, I just had one more statement to say. I was actually surprised to learn this year, Rachel, we're speaking about dress code. My youngest son was going to a game, and he wanted to look good for this game. He was going to go see his friends, and he wanted to look good. So he's going into the middle school. So he's putting in effort, and he's putting his outfit together. And then he goes and changes, and he puts his outfit together. The final result, and I'm like, yeah, you look great. Pajama pants. So it's not even like a roll out of bed, want to get there, like don't want to be there, or rolling out of bed. Like, it's a choice. So I was like, that's the final, like, that's, yeah, ma, socks, slides, pajama pants. I don't know. For me, it was big hair. So I guess that's the new big hair. But I just found it interesting that it's actually planned out for a lot of kids and not just not going to care. Yeah.
Statement. I just want to say that besides the presentation tonight, we really, we appreciate all the effort that went into this, as well as all the activity that's taking place. So glad that we were able to really hear about it, and take the time to do that. But I've been looking at your weekly parent communication, and I'm feeling
Thank you.
it's got everything.
Thank you. And
Will there be something about this now? It's great.
yeah, and that's a group effort. It's the teachers come together, and my secretary, Ms. McMillan, she does a fantastic job as well. But that is one of the things that I knew I needed to create a platform of communication. I was the first one to admit that I'm not a social media expert. Like I I have a Facebook account for my college friends, but that's it. Like, I don't use it for anything else. Oh, and post my pictures of my kids. But I'm not on social media, so I needed to create something that was consistent and people can expect it. And this week's got 2,000 views, so it's getting viewed multiple times. So we're proud of that.
I think it's a great resource.
Thank you.
And I know that is not easily done.
Hmm.
That takes a lot of time.
Thank you. All right. Thank you all.
And thank you for that absolutely wonderful, comprehensive presentation, and a lot of inquisitive questions. That was great. I would like to point you to the Toflon school community wanted to thank you for their playground, and they did it in true Toflon fashion and shared some pictures of students enjoying one of your pieces of work. So, other than that, I'm going to say that it's my report. That ends my report. So.
Thank you so much. Oh, I was off. Okay. That brings us to our board subcommittee reports. And the first item we have facilities and finance.
Madam Chairman, there is no report. The last meeting of Facilities and Finance was on December 5th, and we approved the minutes of that meeting tonight, and a report was at our December 11th meeting.
Gotcha. Thank you. Policy, Crystal?
Report.
And curriculum, Rebecca, I don't think.
Yep, we've already reviewed the last curriculum subcommittee report, so there's no report.
Okay. I know we did not have an outreach committee. And the Plainville High School PAC report, Foster?
The PAC meeting is on Wednesday night, the 10th, and I will be attending that. The last meeting was several months ago.
Gotcha. Toflon, Rebecca?
No report.
All right. And Lyndon, Cassandra, anything?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So for Linden, the holiday gift shop wrapping was on 12/13. They had over 15 volunteers from the high school, which is wonderful. And they can always use more help for wrapping. So anybody enjoys wrapping presents, it's a place to go. They had a record-breaking over $5,000 in sales at their the holiday shop. Approximate profit was little over $1,000, which is going to the Valentine Grams and Lucky Leprechaun Bingo. Again, none of this would be made without their amazing volunteers. Nicole is just an amazing leader of the PTO. She's an outstanding person too. The Butter Braid fundraiser was approximately the same as last year, and continued success. Linden has moved to they have a movie night coming up of Monsters Incorporated, so the kids can go to the gym and see the movie, bring their blankets and their snacks and get comfy with friends. There's also, unfortunately, due to the limitations of the food policy in school, they used to do lolligrams, which was a huge hit with the parents and the students and teachers. They would charge like $1 for a lolligram, and you'd write a nice little message to your friend or your teacher. Because of the limitations of giving out food in school, in the years long lolligrams are no more. The PTO is working on a new endeavor to spread joy on Valentine's Day, and those ideas will all come together at their next meeting. Thank you.
Middle school, Crystal?
So the MSP PTC met on Tuesday, December 12th. It was a quick meeting, and we just kind of discussed some new ideas for spring, and they are having a winter bingo on January 22nd. This is like a drop-off for middle school students on January 22nd from 6 to 7:30. Sounds like a fun bingo night. And we talked a lot about like the 8th grade end of the year stuff, celebrations for the 8th graders. And there's actually tomorrow night, Tuesday, January 9th at 6:30 in the MSP Library Media Center. There'll be a meeting for 8th grade parents to discuss some of those additional end of the year field trips and other events. So that's tomorrow at 6:30. And then their regular PTC meeting will follow at 7 p.m.
All right, thank you. A Wheeler, Rachel, anything?
Thank you. The January Wheeler PTO meeting is on the 18th at 6 p.m. in the library. Wheeler had a fun trip to Disney on Ice a couple of days ago. And in February, they're looking forward to, on February 13th, a Valentine bingo night, and also their Spencelgrams. So that might be a good change for Wheeler if they don't have their Lollygrams. Or for Linden, rather. Wheeler's doing their Spencelgrams on 2/14 on Valentine's Day, and the February PTO meeting is on February 22nd, also 6 p.m. in the library. Thank you.
All right. For a CREC council report, CREC hasn't not actually had an official meeting since November, but the next one is January 17th, I believe. Chairperson's report, I just was going to kind of echo what the superintendent said and remind everyone that we have a retreat tomorrow at 6 p.m. here in this building. And the other thing that we had talked about a little about the middle school and the update on the middle school. The one thing, one of the things I would say, I can't remember if it was mentioned that Lynn Davis is involved, of course, because Lynn has a lot of background knowledge and history on how we do these things. So she's a resource that not very many school districts in the state have, for sure. So we're very fortunate to have Lynn here with us. And then just also, you know, to the point that you made, Rachel, about, you know, some diversity, what we want to make sure is that all the elected officials in town are really giving the same message and have the same, and, you know, are really pulling for this project, because that's a really important piece. You know, I would just say that that's, you're right there, because that's an absolute necessity that we all work in that same vein and work together for that project. So, unfinished business. I don't think we have any. New business, board open forum. Anybody? Yes, Ms. Roberta?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question, a clarification to our superintendent, please. I don't know if this is good or bad, but when you're one of the few people that still has a landline, it's quite interesting, the phone calls you get, as well as having it in the phone books. But there was some question regarding the weather in terms of delayed opening. And I guess I just, for clarification, because people ask me, do we still do phone calls, or has that been dropped? People were kind of confused. I know in the past that's been done. You know, we would get them by about 5:30, 5:40. And that was just kind of being questioned. So if I may, Madam Chair, thank you.
So I think the simple answer is we did get some, or I did receive some input that they would like to see phone calls when we do this. So we can do that, and we'll do that in the future. So when superintendents, there were a lot of conversations throughout the day yesterday, and they all seemed to kind of come to a head about 8:45. And at that point, I really didn't want to hit everybody's phones. And I thought this was something people had on their radar, because there were signs that we were having issues with weather outside. That being said, you know, it's just as easy to send a voice message as well. Happy to do that, and we'll fix that problem for the next time.
Thank you very much.
All right, anyone else?
Hi, Madam Chair. Thank you. I wasn't here. I was ill during the last board meeting, but I just want to recognize that Plainville lost a very very wonderful woman in November. Patricia Grace Lapella Laby passed away. She was 54 years old. She had done work extensively at Great Beginnings, and she was a tremendous help to the staff at Linden School, working with the readers. And her children went through Plainville schools as well. And Patricia left two young men that went through the Plainville schools as well. Both of them have special needs, but she was also widowed twice. So not only did she pass away at 54 and widowed twice, it's left a big hole in the heart of several individuals here in Plainville. And I just wanted to say her name and recognize her as somebody that always had a smile on their face, had nothing bad to say about anybody, and she was just a joy to be around. So I just wanted to make sure I mentioned her in her memory, that she was such a loving person. But that was it. But thank you. She'll be missed.
All right, anybody else?
Yep, Madam Chairman, just, in these days, we have so many bits of bad news and negative things coming across our screens of life. A couple of bright spots have come to mind this week. The first is what I think really typifies why PHS is really a great and positive learning place, is our Honor Society students are offering tutoring to those students here that need that help. And this is just another further example of, I think, the really positive learning is taking place within this building. And also, this past weekend, the MSP VEX robotics team went to Quinnipiac College and competed and did very well. One of the teams came in first, another team came in second, and the VEX robotics teams did get highly recommended, high achievement at this particular event. And it may have been missed in Mrs. De Lorenzo's report, but on January 19th, right where we're all sitting, is going to be some fantastic entertainment. It's going to be the PHF Coffee House. And you all know how to get here, and I believe it's going to start at 7 o'clock. And I know there's some really very talented kids that are here, and I think it'll provide you a most enjoyable evening.
Anybody else?
Madam Chair, I just wanted to, on a bright note, the scholars at Linden, along with, I think, maybe other elementary schools, I'm not positive, there's several students attending a Young Leadership Conference at Naugatuck Community College tomorrow. It was scheduled for today, but they had to postpone it. And I just think that's a wonderful opportunity for our students at the elementary level to be able to participate in that. So I look forward to finding out more about how that conference went. So, but thank you.
Rachel?
Congratulations to Ms. Rivera, who's no longer in the room, but our PCS All-Star of the night. The words that you used to describe her, I mean, everything you would want to hear about anyone interacting with our children. So that was terrific. Also, on a positive note, reading through Ms. Davis's highlights of that, I'm blanking on the name of it.
The staff notes?
The staff notes,
Yeah,
yes,
so-
thank you. I was delighted to see that a piece of music had been commissioned for the all-town band performance. And as a former flautist, that's just so exciting to have a piece of original music. And one of the things I enjoyed when my stepdaughter was in school performing was the all band performance. So to hear an original is just going to be super cool. So I just wanted to comment on that. And I just wanted to thank Chair Tyrell for circling back to my comment about the diversity and representation of the steering committee. It's important that, the information's the information. Everyone at this table well, I guess with the exception of me, but I have supported, as I missed that meeting due to being ill. But this Board of Education has supported
That's true.
this. So I just want to be very clear that diversity is important, representation is important, and to be inclusive of all of our voters and constituents is important. So maybe we may not all convey our message in the same way, and that's actually wonderful news, because that means that we are a diverse Board of Education. So I want to thank you for bringing up that, important point about representation. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. The quarterly special education cost reports. We haven't heard your voice tonight yet.
So once a quarter, we report to you on special education tuition from a financial lens, because it can vary quickly and a big amount, and has a big impact on our financials. So I'm pleased to report tonight that financially, our special education tuition, it looks to be on budget to the end of the year. Unfortunately, though, that is in part due to 4 students waiting for outplacement. So there's 4 students that are in limbo that are waiting for outplacement. Once they're placed, or depending on what happens to those students, this will change. It changes rapidly, and that's why you keep it in front of you. We report on this every month in your consent agenda, and then talk about it once a quarter, as I said. Excess cost, we submitted our report. We'll find out what our reimbursement percentage is in February. So, and that's also telling toward where we'll end the year with special education tuition. And we updated in this report our estimate for how much will be reimbursed for services provided to open choice students. And that's my report.
Okay, any questions at all?
Madam Chair, just a clarification. You have 2 columns here. What do the 2 columns represent, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, one, there's a heading and it's dark and hard to read. And I think if you look, I'll clean that up. I didn't realize how hard that is
I can't
to
make
read.
it much bigger than I've got it now.
Yeah, it's
I can put my driving glasses on, I don't think it'll help.
the first column of numbers is the current column.
Current.
And the second column of numbers was what it was last month. And I didn't realize how hard this was to read. I'm sorry, I'll
Thank
clean
you.
that up.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Current, and that was for December, right?
Yeah, the current is December.
Current is December, and the
The
column.
prior would be November,
Thank you.
of course.
All right, anything else? Okay. And we do not have a turf report this month. That would bring us the consent agenda. If there's nothing that anybody would like to pull off of the consent agenda, I would ask for a motion to pass the consent agenda as posted.
Madam Chairman, I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented in our pack.
Is there a second?
Second?
Thank you, Roberta. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. And with that, we need an adjournment.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you all. Thank you so much. And appreciate everyone's time.